How can I tell when to persist in something that I fail in, right? Or when I need to pivot. Now, this is a very, very serious question for a lot of entrepreneurs because a lot of us had to pivot and have to pivot in order to keep our companies alive. These are facts. Okay? Now, how can you tell? Now, this is it. This is the litmus test. If the vision still excites you, but the method drains you, persistence means holding on to your vision, but not the version of the vision. In other words, you hold on to the vision, but you change your methods. Okay? Failure is often your signal to update your strategy. All right? You update your strategy, but not your dream. Okay? Not because you fail mean that you're going to quit. A lot of times, as entrepreneurs and as business owners, we do have to pivot. I pivoted my company too, a matter of fact. Okay? Had to pivot in order to survive. Had to pivot. Okay? So, don't think that because you have to pivot, that means that you're a failure or you're a loser. You have to evolve or you're going to die. If you don't evolve, you're going to die out. These are facts. All right? Now, what's the biggest mindset mistake that people make after they fail? I'll let you guys think about it for a bit. What's the biggest mindset mistake that people make when they fail? You know what it is? It's thinking that they have to start over from scratch. That's not true. You don't have to start over from scratch. You're continuing. Okay? You're continuing. Yes, invest that too, scrapping too. But thinking that they have to start over from scratch. Okay? All right, let's just, and I always put it back to health and to diet and stuff because that's the top one for a lot of people for some reason. Right? Say you didn't make it to the treadmill this week or you flunked off of your exercise routine this week. Okay. It doesn't mean that you're starting over next week. It means you're continuing. Right? So get up and start again. Don't think that it's like, oh, I'm starting over from scratch. You're not starting over. You're basically continuing with new experience, right? Every attempt that you make is supposed to upgrade your wisdom, but it only will do that if you actually pay attention. It will only do that if you pay attention. No, I don't want to light this. Light another piece of another wood, right? Only if you pay attention, right? That is how you upgrade. That is how you upgrade your mindset and your thinking for this. Okay. All right. Right now, there is something called an emotional hangover. Yeah, it's a real thing. Emotional hangover, right? There's an emotional hangover after failure, and it's the gap between what you expected and what you expected to happen, what you wanted to happen, and what actually happened. Okay, so it's a gap, and it's a real gap, and it's an emotion. It's really an emotional hangover. Like after failure, you just want to just crumble. No, do take the time to feel what you're feeling, but know what it is. Okay, the gap isn't a loss; it's space for growth, right? Your future self is actually being built in the gap. What you expected to happen, what you wanted to happen, and what actually did happen, right? And that's for you to actually say, what did I learn here? What is this teaching me? Okay, that is the key. Is how you talk to yourself, how you reframe these things. And again, do not think that because you failed at this means that you are a failure. Okay, do not mix the situation with your identity. All right. Now, here's a question, and I believe this from my own spiritual self. Can failure actually be protection? Yes, I do believe it can be. Okay, absolutely. Sometimes that slam door, right? It wasn't rejection, but it was actually redirection. It's for you to figure it out for yourself. All right? It may have been redirection from something that was going to actually limit you, right? Closed doors often save us from small lives. And let me go back again to what me and Miss T was talking about with Walt Disney, right? Exactly. Miss T, Walt Disney. Can you imagine if he kept that job at the paper? Can you imagine if the paper didn't fire him and tell him that, oh, you lack imagination? He would have probably died a man at working at a paper. But no, that closed door that sent him in depression for so many months, and he was in some serious depression, that closed door with people that he looked up to in his industry telling him that you have no imagination, right? And you're a fluke. That closed door opened up Disney World, basically, right? So I don't want people to ever forget that. Sometimes your failure is actually, and you can make it. Listen, you can make it really just if you want. You can say, God, close a door, open a window, whatever you need to tell yourself, whatever. But these are facts, right? Sometimes, sometimes as I said, the closed doors often save us from small lives. I'm going to write that down because it was actually a good quote that I wrote, right? Now,